Keith and I had gone to college together back in the 70s, Jacksonville University. And we were friends. There was a whole bunch of us. We all lived at the beach, and he was a lifeguard and a surfer. And then kind of fell out of touch. And 5 years ago, we reconnected. He had gotten in a car accident, I guess, in the mid-90s, and was severely debilitated from that. He had neurological damage that doctors really couldn't seem to find the root of it, and he had had a couple of surgeries that had failed.
Marijuana is in the same category with crack cocaine, heroin, PCP, drugs that are, very dangerous to people, and definitely have no medicinal value. If the American Medical Association says that it has medicinal value, then I think that needs to be looked at.
They think that when you have cancer, there is pain associated with it. There's also, you have a lot of tubes and stuff in you, and there's pain and side effects associated with the chemotherapy itself. So that's one of the things. They seem to be willing to give you way more pain medication than you would get if you were on the outside.
Even the government recognized that it helps with glaucoma patients. But I think its biggest use is cancer. I mean, cancer patients lose their appetite. They experience a lot of nausea and vomiting that can be eradicated by the use of marijuana.
We're going to be creating it will be a $100 civil fine for 20 grams or less of personal possession of marijuana. No arrests, nothing put on your record, no loss of your license, drug testing, fines, jail time, all of that, loss of student loans, whatever negatively could happen. That we're trying to put this fine in place so police officers can use that, not have to tie up their time, any of their overtime, etc., with taking care of these issues, which are nonviolent, victimless crimes. Technically, we need 10% of the registered voter population of Miami Beach. Last check was start of April. It was 43,750. So we would need to gather 4,375 signatures of valid Miami Beach voters. So I've been checking the petitions like I showed you. Basically from that, we've collected over the 4,375, and we're trying to aim for somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 ballots and hand those in, knowing we have enough overage for whatever ones they say don't count. And let's put this issue to the vote.
But one of the other things I noticed that after spending 9 months in the hospital is that they also use pain medication to keep the patients, the natives are restless. So, they're short-staffed, and there's a lot of sick people that need a lot of attention, and I really felt like they overprescribed pain medication just to keep them quiet.
In actuality, the gateway theory says that the first drug used by people generally in the order that they're used in is beer or wine. So beer or wine is the true gateway drug. Then comes hard liquor and/or tobacco, which are also drugs. And then the third stage is marijuana, and then the fourth stage would be harder drugs. 90% of the population is probably using moderately and reasonably, but there's this 10% of the population, which is the exact number of people that are addicted or alcoholic. They're using 50%, like they're gobbling up a huge percentage of.
If everyone was potentially, let's say, using marijuana instead of that, we wouldn't have a lot of the violent crimes and sexual assaults and many of the issues that we do have. Now, for some people that will show, for others that will not. But for other people, they can go to the retirement homes around here and see a lot of the old people that have to have their 7-day pill boxes, and they have to have 2 or 3 of them because there's so many different multicolored little pills they have to pop. And a lot of them have been able to get rid of that and deal with this natural medicine, and they're able to get back to life instead of being a vegetable.
Because he was in and out of the hospital, he was also seeing a pain specialist here, so he had plenty of extra ones. So first he had the amount that he was prescribed, which was far higher than anything I had ever heard. Just as a point of example, I took one and I threw up and passed out in a Winn-Dixie. So it's really pretty strong. It's really pretty strong medication, and that was just one. And he was taking about combination of, it was like 10 or 20 pills a day. So then he had his extra ones from the pain doctor that he would use if the nurses were late with the pain medication or something like that.
If we had kids taking marijuana as medicine their whole lives, they wouldn't have all grown up smoking pot. I mean, I think it would be a lot different. And I think that, if there were healthier ways of, vaporization and edibles and many of the tinctures that are being used now, there's a lot of different ways we can go about that.
The thing about the gateway theory that makes it controversial is that marijuana is the first illegal drug used. Nobody says tobacco is a gateway drug, right? Nobody says alcohol is a gateway drug. Nobody's saying that, even though they're the first stages in the gateway theory. Statistically, though, 80% of people who smoke marijuana only smoke marijuana. They never go any further than to harder drugs. They never go further than marijuana. So if 80% of people that smoke marijuana, obviously the gateway theory is kind of misunderstood.
So really, anytime you hear anything about respiratory failure, it usually has to do with being over-medicated. And the thing that just frustrated me so much was that I was so concerned about the ever-increasing amount of pain medication, and the doctors just wouldn't, they just sort of treated it as if this is what we have to do, this is the standard course of treatment.
I think there absolutely needs to be a medical bill here in Florida with all the sick and dying people that we have in the state. It should definitely be an option when pharmaceuticals killed 7 out of 10 people, 7 people a day.
It's really a privilege to help someone die. It's a very intense experience, but my life will never be the same.